Okay, here we are, Chapter 3, Parallel and Perpendicular Lines. And I have the most awesome example of parallel lines there, those railroad tracks. Lovely. And if you look over there on the left, it looks like they are not parallel, but if you really wanted to take the time and look at the actual lines along here, you would find that they are truly parallel. It's a little bit of an optical illusion. Perpendicular. You can see this right here. Perpendicular, 90-degree angle. This is if you would like to decorate your house in perpendicular hardware, I guess. And then, of course, we hope that none of this happens to you, but that would be a horrible experience to have your car be perpendicular with the ground. All right, here we go. Parallel lines. If you have parallel lines, then you will see this lovely little symbol. It's kind of like a little triangle on each line that's parallel. So line M is parallel to line N, and here's the deal. You may have a picture with multiple parallel sets or pairs or even trios. They might have one set that has one set of triangles and another set of lines that have two set of triangles on it, or three. And depending on some books or some worksheets might have something more like this, like a little arrow. Some kind of a triangular arrowy type of thing that shows that these two match up, that they are truly parallel. If you were to write out in a paragraph or describing, they will have something like M is parallel to N. And notice how the symbol is also parallel. Craziness. All right. Parallel planes versus intersecting planes. And my best explanation is either your planes intersect or your planes are parallel. If they are parallel, it would be like the ceiling with the floor in our room, or like the west wall with the east wall. The east wall is parallel to the west wall, so those are parallel planes. Either that or they intersect. So the ceiling would intersect with the wall. And remember, when intersecting planes, you form a line. Skew is a new word. Skew means, basically, it doesn't intersect, and yet still not parallel. Well, how could that be? So I have this wonderful picture here. I'm going to pick a line. Woo! All right, and there are several lines that are skew. Okay, this line back here is not parallel, and yet it is not going to intersect with the yellow line. I could also say this down here will not intersect, and it is not parallel. This line as well. This line with the yellow line, not intersecting, and yet not parallel. So that's what it means to be skew. I think it's kind of a funky word. All right, and a transversal. Transversal means that a line is going to intersect two or more lines. Okay, so if I have two lines, woohoo and woohoo, then I'm going to have a transversal. And generally, I mark it with a T. Mark it with the T. To show that it's the transversal. In theory, I could have marked this one with a T because this line would go on forever and ever, and then it crosses this line and the other line, so it could be considered the transversal. Yeah, just basically if your line crosses two or more lines, you're looking at it transversal. And so we have lots of transversals to look at. Usually when we have a picture with multiple lines, the one we're considering to be the transversal is marked with a T. Okay, first of all, I want to talk about interior versus exterior. We're going to get to all these other words in here. And this is where you would want your little helpful page, handout page that I would have for you. Interior, first of all, I want to mark down our transversal. I'm considering this as our transversal. It's coming through the other two lines. And the interior is what is considered to be on the inside of the lines that are not my transversal. Okay, so I'm going to highlight this. That is considered the interior. Okay, if you want to shade it in on your paper or something, that's fine. You probably, once you've got it, you're going to be good. I'm going to clear that out. Now I'm going to go to the exterior. So the exterior would be on the outside of these lines. Okay, this is the exterior, and this is the exterior. Of course, this is concerning when this is considered to be my transversal right here. Okay. All right, let's start with alternate interior angles. Alternate means alternate sides of the transversal. Exterior means it has to be on the exterior of these lines right here. So I'm alternating sides. I'm just gonna, oh goodness. I'm gonna mark it with this little diamond. So here is one. And the other side that is alternate and on the exterior would be over here in G. So we would say B and G are alternate exterior angles. Okay? I can also say that A is exterior with H. So A and H are exterior, alternate exterior angles. I have to say alternate and exterior. And those are the only alternate exterior angles that you have. All right, consecutive interior. When I was growing up, in other words, my teacher would always say same side interior. I like it better. It's got a nice little sing-song rhyme to it. But our textbook does consecutive interior. So I might accidentally call it same side interior, but I really mean consecutive interior. Here's what that means. Consecutive means like in a row. All right. They have to be on the interior. So D is on the interior. Now I need the one that's consecutive with that. And woo! That. Angle D and angle F are considered to be consecutive interior angles. And if I move this over here, angle C and angle E are also consecutive interior angles. And those are the only pair that we have that are consecutive interiors. All right, let's move down here to alternate interior angles. Alternate means alternate sides of the transversal, and they are also on the interior of this. So angle C would go with angle F. Those are alternate interior angles. You've got to know these. I'm sure you will figure it out, if not from this video, from all the activities we're going to do. D and E are alternate interior angles. And those are the only alternate interior angles that you have. Okay, corresponding angles. Corresponding angles. G corresponds with angle C. So G and C are corresponding angles. You could also say A corresponds with E. Those are corresponding angles. B corresponds with F. So B and F are corresponding angles. And if you didn't already figure this one out, D and H are also corresponding angles. All right, here we go into our examples. I don't know that you're going to have to maybe just have one picture here because I think the next ones are all kind of a similar picture. Name all the planes that are parallel to plane AEF. So here's point A, here's E, here's F. So this is the plane we're looking at. Okay, all the planes that would be parallel to that, well, there's only one other set, and it's this one right over here. So I will call that plane, and there's lots of ways to write the plane, but I will say GB, CH, and you could use 3 of the 4 letters, but any order like that, and that's your only plane that's parallel. Example 2. Name all the segments that intersect segment AF. So let's highlight AF. So I'm going to write out the segments that run into that. Well, segment FG. I think this segment runs into that as well. So segment EF. And then I think, oh, this segment runs into this as well. So segment AD. And I think this segment right here runs into AF or intersects. So that would be segment AB. I believe that is all that we have that is going to intersect. We should also look to make sure if I extend a line beyond the picture, will it run into that? I just don't think I've got any others that are going to intersect. Okay? Example 3, name all the segments that are skew. And remember, skew means it does not intersect, and it's still not parallel. So AD is right here. And let's see, if it's going to be skew, it's not going to intersect and not be parallel. So segment FG would be one of them. I would say segment GB as well. I would say segment, this one down here, EH. I think segment EC does not run into it. It does not intersect and it's not parallel. If I put down GH, that would be incorrect because GH is parallel, BC is parallel, FE is parallel, CD intersects, ED intersects, and that's all I'm seeing as far as skew. Ooh, wait a minute. Ooh, I almost missed one. I believe this line right here, HC, is skew as well. Okay. Example 4, name a segment that is parallel to RX. So here's RX. And there's many segments to pick from. One of them would be segment QW. This right here is going to be parallel. Segment TZ is parallel. And segment SY. They're all parallel. And we're going to move on. Example 5, name a segment that is skew to TZ. You only have to name one. I'm going to give you a couple here. You could say segment WX. You could say segment XY. You could say segment QR. The thing is, you got to kind of visualize. I know it's a two-dimensional picture, but we have to think three-dimensional here. I think segment RS as well. And that looks to be about it. All right, we want to identify angle 7 and angle 3 as either alternate interior, alternate exterior, corresponding, or consecutive interior. Basically, the next set of questions are all like this. Let's jump to it. Angle 7 and angle 3. Those are going to be corresponding angles. If you draw this picture once and then just do different symbols, you do circles and then triangles in your notes so you don't have to draw it out over and over again. Angle 8 and angle 2. So angle 8 and angle 2. They are alternate sides of the transversal, and then they are on the exterior as well. So these are alternate exterior angles. Example 8, angle 4, and angle 11. Okay, now you're like, wait a minute, there's this whole other line in between. I could take out this line. It's actually not even necessary. Okay, and if you look at it now, they are corresponding angles. Even if I put this in here, they are still considered to be corresponding angles. So example 8, corresponding. Example 9, 7 and 1. Angle 7 and angle 1. They are on the exterior, and they are on the alternate sides of the transversal, so they are alternate exterior angles. Example 10, angle 3 and angle 9. Okay, once again, you might have to cover up part, or I'm just going to remove this for a little bit. Those are on alternate sides of the transversal, and they are on the interior. So those are alternate interior angles, alternate interior. And then I think our last example here, example 7 and number 10. Okay, once again, this is the one now that isn't part of the picture, but we probably don't need to move it just because you can see a little clearly. 7 and 10 are on the interior, and they're on the same side. See, I think same side interior, but the book wants us to use that word consecutive, so these are consecutive interior angles. So example 11 has consecutive interior angles. All right, and that ends our lesson for today.